Hello, my name is Bobby, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use the remote workspace feature in ScriptRunner Connect to connect your local IDE to the ScriptRunner Connect environment so that you can build your integrations and solutions in ScriptRunner Connect using your local IDE. We're also going to be showing you the AI.md file that comes with this, what it is, how it works, and how you can use it to empower your local AI development tools to make it faster and quicker in a significant way to build a solution. So as you can see, we're already in a ScriptRunner Connect workspace. This is going to be the workspace that we're working with. It's a simple demonstration, a simple solution. We want to just have a listener that executes when a Jira issue is created and then post a message into Slack. As you can see, I've built the structure or the scaffolding around this. So we've got the event listener set up, as well as the API connections to Slack to send the message and to Jira in case we want to extract more information, and the script connected to the event listener to execute when we detect that event. You can also see under parameters that we've got the ID of the Slack channel, so we know where we're going to be sending that message. We're going to be using the remote workspace feature, which is located in the top right menu here. But before we do that, I just want to flag a thing you can do beforehand to get prepped for this, which is to get your local SSH key. So if I go to my profile, you can see at the bottom, I currently have a button about revoking my key, but you will have a button to create and download a key. You can see here. This is going to be your SSH key to enable you to communicate with ScriptRunner Connect using SFTP, which is the process we use, under your credentials. So it is important to enable that, get the key and store it in a safe safe place in your machine to ensure, obviously this is a key that enables people to communicate with ScriptRunner Connect using your credentials, so ensure that you take the proper precautions around that. So if I go back to the workspace, and then in the top right menu, as we said, select remote workspace, we get taken through to this screen. We have some instructions and guidance on exactly how to achieve this, but the wizard will also take you through the process itself. So what we're going to do is enable or generate the settings, and we now have the SFTP credentials. SFTP is the process that we use to enable your local IDE to communicate and pass files back and forth with ScriptRunner Connect itself. So you can see the credentials have been created, the username has been defined, which will connect it to this specific workspace, and we have guided instructions on how to set this up. If you're starting completely from scratch, there are some additional steps you're going to take that aren't going to be included in this video because I already have them completed. For example, ensuring that Node.js is installed on my machine and that I have a folder. So for example, you can see I have a project ready to go with the SFTP extension already installed and ready to go. So make sure you look at these instructions and follow them step by step, even if they're not included in this video. I'm going to start here at step 6, which gives me the instruction to create an SFTP config file and then gives me a JSON structure to use for that. So if I go to my project, also worth noting, if you use the guidance or even the documentation, you'll see under the documentation, the recommended setup is for VS Code. I'm not using VS Code, I'm using Cursor. However, the steps are very similar and will probably be quite similar for most IDEs, whichever one you prefer to use. So in Cursor, I'm going to say SFTP config, F1, SFTP config. And then for this config file, I'm going to paste the same JSON that was generated by ScriptRunner Connect for me. Most of this will already be ready. The only thing that really needs to change is the path to your private key. I'm going to take that now and I'm going to paste that in. And save. I'm going to go back to ScriptRunner Connect. The instructions give you additional things to be aware of. So for example, private key path, upload on save, and ignore options. We've addressed the private key path, ensuring that upload on save is turned on to be true, and the ignore options, making sure that we ignore certain folders. The way that the SFTP setup is going to work is every time you save a file, that file will be promoted up into ScriptRunner Connect. So it's important to turn off autosave in your local IDE for this when you're using this to ensure that the local IDE doesn't constantly push unnecessary updates to ScriptRunner Connect. So again, if I go to the settings for Cursor, we're going to see that I have autosave disabled. And then when I save a file, it will be promoted up into ScriptRunner Connect. Following on the instructions, now that we've set up this SFTP config, all we need to do is do a sync from remote to local. So remote being the ScriptRunner Connect application itself, local to your local IDE. So if I press F1 and I have the option here, SFTP sync remote to local, when I select this and then select the folder, this is going to bring down the structure into my local folder, my project, where I can now start to work with it. You can see that a lot of information is brought down under scripts. You can see that we have the script that we were going to run, or we're going to run the on Jira Cloud issue create. Under API, we also have the API connections that we've defined in our workspace. Now, what you'll notice is that we are currently getting an error. This is because we do need to take one additional step, and it is defined here in the documentation. You'll see the red squiggly lines. We need to go into the terminal and run npm install. So if I go and select this, go to my project, create a new terminal, and run npm install. This will run npm install on your project, which will then correct the red squiggly lines and make sure that this is now completely ready for development with ScriptRunner Connect. So this takes a few seconds, so we're just going to pause. Not even going to need to pause. It's done already. The instance has been run. And if I go into the project, you'll see that it auto resolves those issues, and I'm now able to make changes to my code. So let's see it working. So if I say console.log hello world and save, we'll be able to see that that save will be pushed up into ScriptRunner Connect once it's detected. So if we just sit and wait for a few seconds, we're going to see that the instance will refresh with the new code line automatically brought in from my local IDE. It is also important to note that you also get the full managed API experience as well. We bring those down into your IDE. So for example, if I was to say I want to communicate with Jira Cloud or Slack, I can save the script. Let's bring it back down from ScriptRunner Connect to my local IDE, so that we're going to see that that's now included. And if I wanted to, for example, create a Jira issue, Jira Cloud.issue.create issue. And we can see, even with the power of this ScriptRunner Connect editor and all that it offers, local IDEs are the best solution for writing and developing code. There is a reason they are the gold standard. There is a reason that any changes we make in any editors across the entire ScriptRunner suite, we're trying to replicate the functionality that you get in an IDE. It's because it is the best experience. And you can see here, even the ScriptRunner Connect IDE doesn't offer you this level of autocomplete. So it makes it much easier and much more powerful to develop and write code. Not only considering that, but also the fact that you will have all of the setup and configs for your own personal preferences in terms of making life that much easier for you. Now, one thing to be aware of, the second thing to be aware of, and the second thing to talk about when it comes to the remote workspace feature is the AI.md file. You will notice in the file structure that has been brought down when we did the sync that there is this AI.md file. This is a file that is designed for your AI agents when writing code. It is built to give the context of what ScriptRunner Connect is, how it works, managed APIs, event listeners, etc., to the AI agent, so that it is able to generate code for you that will work completely with ScriptRunner Connect. So let's see this in action. So with the AI.md file, you'll always want to start by writing this line. Start by reading AI.md. And then request. On Jira Cloud, I want to take the summary and the description of the Jira issue and send a message in Slack with those values. The Slack channel is in parameters with the ID So because this agent has the knowledge and context of ScriptRunner Connect, it's going to know that under the event variable is going to be the information of the issue where it can access the summary and the description. It's going to know how to send a message to Slack using Slack's managed API. And it's going to be able to, should be able to get the parameters and the ID from that. So you can see here, especially with cursor, it gives you the thought process of what it's doing and how it's working and going through that process and generating that code. And if we go to the on Jira Cloud Issue Created script, we're going to see the updates it gives. Now, this is a simple example and shouldn't be too much challenge for the AI. As with anything AI, it is always trust but verify. Make sure that you are able to read and review what coding it does, because it's going to make mistakes at times and needs correcting. However, in our experience using this especially with the templates that we've been creating as a team, we've found that this is incredibly powerful and it gets the vast majority of things correct the first time. So it will give you the code, it will do a check to make sure that there are no errors, and it will give you a summary of what it does and how it works. So we're just going to keep the code and we're going to see what it's doing. We're just going to read through it real quick. So it gets the summary from the issue on the event, description again from the issue on the event, and then it's going to check to see if it's of type string. It's going to define a new message to be sent to Slack. It's going to get the Slack general ID from the environment variables, and it's going to post a message to Slack. So we're just going to keep all of that, and we're just going to see if it works. So we're going to save. We are going to go back to ScriptRunner Connect just to double check that those have all been processed. You can see there are no errors. There are no red squiggly lines. So now let's the alternate test. Let's run it. So in Jira, I'm going to create a new issue. It's going to be in demo. It's going to be a story, and it's going to be hello world. And I'm going to give it a description, hello world description. I'm going to click create. We're going to go back to ScriptRunner Connect, and we're going to see that that event has been detected and the script is run. If we go to Slack, we can see the automatically new Jira issue created summary description. It got it right first time. So this is as we mentioned, a very powerful tool that you can use to slash the time to development on your features, on your solutions. Obviously, it has the context of ScriptRunner Connect and the ability to use the managed APIs and understand it. Not only that, but the event listeners, etc. Obviously, it's an AI tool. It has knowledge even outside of ScriptRunner Connect. So, for example, that is brilliant. Can you build me a function to create a task in Asana, which is not a tool that we currently at time of recording support with either a managed API or a connector. With those details, assume the OAuth key for Asana is stored in record storage under the key Asana OAuth. So again, because Asana's REST API is publicly available information that the AI will be aware of, it will be able to build the code pretty simply to be able to do this function. It knows what ScriptRunner Connect is, it knows to use TypeScript, it knows to use .fetch, it knows what record storage is and how to go and get the OAuth key. So being able to build a function like this is very simple and very straightforward. I'm just going to pause here while the AI does its thing. And it's now done. You can see, as with the last one, it gives you a full description and summary of what it's done and how it's achieved it. And we're going to keep all of this. We're not going to test this, but we're just going to have a quick look to see if it's a sanity check. So you can see here, create Asana task. The OAuth data is getting the value from the access token using the string OAuth, Asana OAuth, which is correct. If it doesn't get this key, it fails, so it doesn't continue, correct. And then it assumes that additional information that is required is in record storage. So this is something where maybe we would want to correct that and say, whilst the OAuth key is in record storage, the information about the workspace, etc., could be stored in params. We need you to correct that. So this might be a bit more of a back and forth as to with the AI in terms of correcting this, but we can see it then goes and uses a dot fetch with the correct structure that you would expect, being able to handle the error if that comes back incorrect and processing the results. So again, an example just to show you that this AI tool isn't just built to use what is available in ScriptRunner Connect. It can be used to build solutions for tools outside of ScriptRunner Connect quickly and easily. It can be used to build really powerful tools significantly, and really enables you to do what is more commonly known today as vibe coding. Definitely recommend giving this a try. Have a look, just test it, ask it some questions, have some back and forth with an AI agent. It is basically having your own expert on ScriptRunner Connect and how to build these integrations in a window in your local IDE with all of the benefits that that brings. Hopefully this has been useful. Thank you very much for your time and have a great rest of the day.